Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Derek Invest. I'm your host, Derek Miller. So, I want to talk to you about something today, and I'm going to talk about it intermittently as this presentation goes on today, as this live stream goes on. And that is, I was having an amazing conversation with someone that I really respect and whose company I enjoy a lot, and we have like our conversations run deep and they go on and on and on. And we kind of entered into a conversation we were talking about. We touched on finance, and it's not something I talk about a ton of in my personal life because I do so much of it professionally. But what we were talking about was money and wealth and what's happening around the world and how it affects people. And she had mentioned to me about Klaus Schwab saying that you're going to own nothing and you're going to love it. And I said to her, I think probably what's meant by that is that you're going to own everything and love it, meaning that you will own a piece of the chaos. If you know what I'm referencing, you'll understand. But that's not really the point, because the point was that a lot of times people say, I don't chase money, I buy and hold, or I save this, or I do that. And they're trying to tell you, don't be a consumer. You don't need to chase things. And we started into that conversation. And the reason that's important is because I don't think people are chasing things or items or money. Some people, yes, but I don't think most people are. The truth is, I think what you're chasing is choice. Okay. And that's why I do what I do. And when I say you're chasing choice, you're chasing choices, because without finances and a good deal of finances, you don't have a lot of choices. All right. You're not, as John Goodman put it in the movie The Gambler, you're not operating from a position of fuck you. Meaning, if someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, fuck you. If your boss tells you to do something, fuck you. If you can't take time off, fuck you. You can't have that vacation, fuck you. That's operating from a place of fuck you. And the only way to operate from that place is with finances behind you so that you have that ability. Otherwise, you'll lead yourself into more suffering. Regardless of what anyone tells you, that is what poverty will create. And no matter where you do it, which is why one of the subjects I love so much, which is cults around the US, any successful cult is probably truly run by 10 to 15 people. And when that cult inevitably breaks up, which they all do, those 10 to 15 people all seem to accomplish the exact same goal. They become very wealthy because in their pursuit of freedom, in their pursuit of choice, they found the only real freedom and the only real choice could come from being able to live the way you want to live. And you need finances to do that. That is what I'm all about every day. I want everyone to have the freedom and the choice to do what they want to do. If you live through 2020, you must know how imperative that is at this point. And if you live through 2020 and you understand that what went on, there was a lot of shenanigans, you were misled. This is going to do this, then it doesn't. This is going to happen, then it doesn't. All brought to you by these same sources. And these same sources bring you most of your financial information. If you can see that there is probably something askew there, this is the place for you. And what I'm trying to do is offer people freedom. And I get asked this all the time. Why finance? Why finance? Because if you know me, I'm usually in a ball cap. I love exercising. I love working out. Martial arts. I grew up as a wrestler. These are the things that I love doing. I'm a pretty active guy. So why this? Because without this, without the understanding of how this works, Dave Ramsey, all right, I actually happen to respect the guy a lot. I think his financial foundation is incredible. He teaches you not to go into debt. He teaches you to save. I'm not going to get into good debt versus bad debt. You don't have to go down that road because most people mess that up anyway. And they turn good debt into bad debt. Even guys that are the best at it, even guys that have been doing it their whole life, like Grant Cardone, he finds himself in a situation now where his good debt has turned into bad debt. Now, with rates coming down, maybe it cleans up and he's okay. But believe me, this has been a horrific few years for him. And that can happen very quickly and very easily, even for astute guys that have been doing it their entire life. So I don't preach that. So I love what Dave Ramsey says, save your money, have a budget, do these things. But you know where he goes wrong? He tells you to invest in an index because indexes always go up. That's incorrect. So you're optimizing your job, you're optimizing your savings, you're optimizing your spending, you're optimizing your budget, you're optimizing everything you do. And then when it comes to investing, here's the plan. Just put it in and ignore it, which you won't do anyway. When we get into a major market event, how many people sold in 2008, 2009? Almost every retail investor, 99.9%. I can prove that anytime you want on a chart. How many sold in 2020? Not almost all of them, not like 2008, 2009, but many, many, many. How many sold in 2021? Not a lot. How many sold towards the bottom in 2022? Many. Because you're not going to buy and hold. So the message I'm trying to bring to start this program off is, listen to me. If you're doing everything right financially, and your goal is freedom, and most of you, even if you think you want the Ferrari, and the Ferrari, by the way, is not a bad goal because it gets you at least thinking the right way, thinking in abundance, thinking in more. As a financial advisor for 17 years, I can tell you there's two kinds of people. There's the people that worry about expenses, and then there's the people that worry about income. Okay? The people that are constantly cutting expenses live far more dull, boring lives. They don't have as many peaks. They don't have as many valleys. They don't have as many valleys. Their lives are not very exciting. I can tell you, I talked to them when they were 75 years old. There wasn't a lot of excitement there. It was a different thing. The people that looked at income and how to get what they want, they had a lot more peaks and valleys are rough and peaks are fun and there's more of them. But in the end, their life was an adventure that they loved. They risked things, and sometimes they lost, and sometimes they won. But if you listen to their stories, it was a life that, whenever you watch social media and people talk about a life worth living, I have to tell you that for most people, that is looking at the income side, that is maximizing every dollar you have to produce the best life you can possibly give yourself. All right, I'm going to move on from that, and I am actually going to touch base on that throughout this program. But remember, this channel is about freedom and choices, because if you're doing everything right in your life with finances, but you just think that you're going to do asset allocation or buy and hold or own the index, and that's if you thought about that in any other aspect of your life, you would almost laugh. But for some reason in the financial world, that seemed to be acceptable. Oh, buy everything, and then some of it will go up and some of it will go down, and you'll get the middle. What concept does that work in? I mean, it's insane. And I've been doing this for 25 years. Now, I don't expect you to be able to do what I can do, but I come on here to show you that it's possible. Because through my one-on-ones and through my VIP mentorship, I can teach you this stuff. And if you're doing intense work, and you really are, I can make sure that you don't. I would say it took me 5 years to get good at this. It took me 10 years to become a master at this. And here I am at 25 years, and I far surpassed even that now. Now everything I do is purely intuitive. I can jump across asset classes. I can jump across time frames. I can forecast stocks. I can forecast commodities. I can forecast currencies, whatever you want. But that's from all the time I've put in, right? But you know how many mistakes I made, how many pitfalls? When I got started and I first started trading, I blew my account up 3 times. Wiped it out 3 times. It was a $100,000 lesson I learned in my 20s. I wasn't a day trader. I was a financial advisor. And I can at least help you avoid that stuff. So let me hide this for a second. Let's get over what we're going to talk about. I want to jump back into something we were discussing on Friday, which is seasonality. And seasons oftentimes are a time when certain positions, industry sectors are bought and sold. Coming into summer, so in spring, a lot of times it's cruise liners, airliners. So we looked at them on Friday. And right now, coming out of summer, something that's bought a lot are the energy companies, because we know winter's coming and heating's coming. I'm not telling you this makes any sense, but what I am telling you is oftentimes, because of those seasons, you'll find setups in those positions. They're just there. So we're going to take a look at 5 big ones, and then we're going to very quickly look at the market. As I told you, the NASDAQ QQQ, when we were down at 424, the day we opened down 5.5%, 2 weeks ago to the day, I told you to buy and that the NASDAQ would hit 490. And I think I put September 2nd. Looks like we're going to get there sooner. Doesn't matter. Great. We get there sooner. Great. You made more money. You made it faster. While everybody else was talking circuit breakers and market crashes, I told you, yeah, right. And that's because I know what I'm doing. And they are just feeding off of your emotions to keep you following them, to get more clicks, to get more likes. They have no idea what's happening. I don't care what profession they were in, and I don't care how long they were doing it. If you were talking about circuit breakers when the market's opening up down 5.5%, or you were talking about anything related to a crash, you should immediately stop watching that person. They are a victim of their own emotions. They have no idea what's going on. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to share the screen. So we're going to look at Exxon, Dominion, Duke, Edison, and NFG. Let me share my screen with you all. I hope you understand what I mean when I say and when I talk about the freedom and the and choices that money gives you. Because what I see a lot of now, and what I've been seeing a lot of, is that people that seem to have more money seem to think that they know what's best for you. And I'm not just talking about wealthy individuals. I guess this would be more along the political spectrum, and certain people that, oh, you don't want that. That makes your life harder. You know, everybody's out to get you. The truth is, that's your choice. When I was having that conversation with my friend yesterday, the one thing she had mentioned to me, we were talking about the feminist movement, right? And how a lot of it was a CIA operation. And that's very well known for those of you that don't know that. And it was global. And we can say that, well, it turns out that it probably didn't work out all that well for many. Okay. And I pointed out to her that the one thing with the feminist movement you have to understand, in my opinion, the way I see it, is that, you know, while many women probably had good husbands that did right, there were some that are just, you know, getting beaten up in domestic violence and emotional abuse, and just, you know, punished every day of their lives because, you know, the baked potato was overcooked. Okay, do we see anything here, folks, as far as a setup? We don't. I'm zooming in. If you see me going through Exxon, there's no reason to bore you with I don't see anything, but thus far I don't. So yeah, it just, there doesn't seem to be anything here. So yeah, in any case, you know, she's getting beat up because the baked potatoes overcooked. Her dinner was 4 minutes late. And what the feminist movement did is it gave her a choice. It gave her the choice to get out of there. And it certainly wasn't perfect, right? Okay, now Dominion, what do we see here, guys? What do we see here? Look at that. Boom. That is a lot of volume at falling prices. What does a lot of volume at falling prices mean, everybody? What does a lot of trading activity at a low price mean? It means bingo. Institutions and professionals buy at low prices and sell at high prices. It is retail that gets their emotions conflicted. And when prices fall, they think you buy and sell based on price. Not that price isn't a factor, it is. But price tells you whether an institution would be buy or selling. That's it. And at a low price, institutions buy, not sell. And this is on a monthly chart. So that's pretty darn incredible. When did this start? Oh my gosh. Man, this thing's been getting hammered for a while. So we're going to zoom in on it. But this is something worth looking at. All right, let's zoom in here a little bit, and then we'll get back to our conversation on feminism. Just because I thought it was so interesting yesterday. I had such a nice conversation, and I always do. And she happens to be really intelligent and fun to talk to. Okay, 56.50. Okay, we're going to zoom in a little more. Let's get into a day. All right, look at that. Here we are on a daily chart. Now, a daily chart, if you remember, this takes you out 6 to 18 months when you look at a daily chart, depending on what season you're in. I mean, in the fall and in the spring, when the market is very active, 6 months is plenty of time to see the results of a daily chart. What's the price action here? You're down at 40. What's the price action here? You're in here at 47. Right now, you're at 56. So you have still a very, very big move ahead of you. Although up at $60 here, you have to realize that Dominion will have rallied 50% from the original purchasing of those institutional investors. It's a big rally. They'll probably take some profits at that point, but we're going to zoom in and find out. So here we go. Do we see anything like that? Well, I would say volumes picked up here a bit and here a bit. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. This is, though, do you see how you zoom in? Now, remember, as you zoom in, what you're doing is you're shortening up the time frame. So you're shortening up the time frame for your target price based on the fact you're shortening up the time frame on your chart. And every chart is a new chart, right? So we just looked at it and we said, wow, a ton of buying at 40 and a ton of buying at 47. That's incredible. That should have a heck of a run based on that volume. But as we zoom in, remember, that is now that is a thought in the back of our minds, because as we zoom in, we go, whoa, this is a lot of volume on this chart, and it is within $2 of where we sit right now. This is a lot of volume, okay? The last time you saw that level of volume, look, I would say this and this are relative to one another. Now, what I see here, look, as price came up, it peaked here. Look at all the volume, and then it fell. Where did it fall from? It fell from about 54 to 47. So $6. So you're looking at 12, 13% price drop based on that volume. Now, based on this volume here, you were at a high of what? 58? High 57, 60, whatever, 58. It's pulled back to 53. That's 5. So you're at about a 10% drop. Could that be it? Potentially. Potentially that could be it. But let's zoom in a little further and we'll see what we can see here. All right, let's get into a 45-minute. And here's that again. Here's that volume. You can see it. It sticks out tremendously. 30 minutes. All right, and volume is drying up a little bit as it's approaching this previous high, which can mean that there's just not a lot of people out there wanting to buy Dominion at the current price. I mean, that is definitely what I see. So would I say that most likely it looks like it's going to roll over? It appears that way, but they gapped down to create some fear. It's rallied up. Let's see. Let me look at this on a 5. Let's see what we got. You see this? This was so you rally on high trading activity, which is predominantly selling thereafter. See, that's a big volume bubble right there. And then price drops. And what do? They gap it down because they want to pick up as much shares as possible. So this is certainly a runner. Let's give it a price target. Let's give it a price target. I'm going to have to go a little further than an hour. Oh, I still got to go out. Okay, so we're going to have to go out to a daily here. Let's see. All right, where are we going to run? Well, without a doubt, we're going to run there. So you can call it 66 from here. You got 66 from here for sure. So let's go ahead and pull up our horizontal. Let's give it 66. It is, I believe, the 20th, yeah? 20th, yeah. 8/20/2024. You have Dominion price target of 60. And what is our target date? We are going to go ahead from here. We have 10, so you're looking at 20%. We'll give it it's the 20th, right? So we'll give it it can have 2 months. I don't even know if it needs that, to be fair. I'm gonna do it anyway. Doesn't matter. Target date. We're gonna go 10/20. That'll be just fine. There we go. Here, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. So it looks a little neater. We'll pull that down. How's that? All right. So yeah, so back to the feminist movement, maybe how it's some would say, like, in general, it's been harmful to society, create single mothers. You go through all this stuff. However, what it did do was it gave choices to those that didn't have a choice. You didn't have to get smacked around because the baked potato was cold or because you made dinner late. And second of all, if you didn't want to be the person at home making dinner, you didn't have to be, right? You wanted to get a job and support yourself and, do whatever. It offered choice. And in my opinion, anything that offers choice, see, if you were at home and your husband wasn't beating you up, right, which was the case for most, I would say, then you had the choice to stay home and do that, or to go to work, or you had the choice. Those women that are getting beat up, smacked around, they don't have the choice. And that, to me, was what that movement was about. Now, and the other thing we talked about was when you're trying to fix something, we say, hey, there's a problem here, and you're trying to fix something. Oh, this is interesting. I see. It looks like it filled. Yeah, you're going to have to come back to this 106 area, which is only 6% away. We'll zoom in and see what we see there. Okay, so when you're trying to fix things, you're never going to get it perfect right away, which is the funny thing. That's why a lot of people hate the state that I love. A lot of people hate California because they don't get everything right. In California, we are consistently trying to improve. So there's a problem. Oh, look at this high volume bubble. Okay, look at this. Do you see this here? Look at that. And where is that taking place, everybody? Where is that taking place? That is taking place right there. The highest volume bar at the literal peak price, which means the reversal is inevitable. And it looks like it's 105. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, and we'll see how tight the target actually gets. Show up on the 30. Well, that gap doesn't even count, but here it is right here. So we're going to go back. Let's go up to a 45 minutes, see if it shows. Yeah, you're coming back to 105. You're coming back to 105 within the next month. Okay, so here we go. 8/20/2024. And the reason I go through so many different charts, so many different industries, so many different everything, is because I want to prove to you that this is how the market works. The market, while some will tell you, oh, it's based on these mechanics, it's based on those mechanics. No, those mechanics are the underlying reason that an emotional response takes place. The emotional response is the driver of price. The actual driver of price is the emotional response to price movements created by institutional trading activity or institutional volume. But the ultimate driver is the emotional response to those mechanics. Studying mechanics, if you don't know what the emotions those mechanics create, have fun trading mechanics. It's a very difficult game. You'll be right as much as you're wrong. When you learn to intuitively trade the emotional response of those mechanics via simplifying and notional kind of ideologies, Duke, what I say, Edison. I'm going to zoom in on this right away and just see if it has a similar setup. Yeah, but it's only 2% away. I'm going to skip Edison. What I say, NFG. We're going to do NFG. No, those are two good charts for today. I'm going to stop this share real quick and jump into what I was saying. So, as we were talking, so in California, I was saying the place that I love that other people hate because they do everything wrong. Their politics are wrong. This is wrong. That's wrong. I don't agree with everything about California. But what I do agree with is that you have to try to fix problems when you see them. And you're never going to get it right the first time. You'll never get it right. It took me 25 years to become what I am at doing what I do. The reality is I was within 10 to 15 years, I was pretty good. But now I've transcended even that. And that's taken me about 25 years. But I identified problems, and as I would fix a problem, then there's another problem, and you fix that problem, and there's another problem. So when you think about issues in society, like societal issues, you have to understand something. No one has the actual answer that just works. Your answer is going to create another problem. Hopefully, what you've done is minimize that big. So if you take a big problem and you're constantly shrinking the problem, maybe it starts, this big, and then it's this big, this big, this big, this big. You're and eventually you should be able to solve it, right? And it's hard to solve problems when it comes to people because people inherently are looking after themselves. They are consistently saying, what is best for me, right? Another thing that we had talked about was the social credit system, which I'll save that for tomorrow. And we were talking about the social credit system versus the financial credit system that we deal with now. And we were talking about the problems within that, within a social credit system, and then the problems that are within our current system. And we were just talking about that scenario. And I'll probably talk about that a bit tomorrow. I think for now, this is good. I'm probably going to jump back on and do another live broadcast today, and I'm going to run through the markets because I didn't get there. So I'm going to talk about the NASDAQ, the S&P, Russell 2000, and 20-year treasuries, which I told everybody back when the TLT, the 20-year treasuries, was down at 91.80. You should be buying it. This thing's going to run. And I still agree with that. And as most people know, and all of my students know, when it went up there and hit 100 2 weeks ago, we were sellers. And I don't tell you every move that's made in the portfolio and when it's made. I just give you the evidence here that what I do works consistently, and you too can learn it. And if you are interested, and you should be if you're in the market, and I don't care what you do within the market, whether you work mechanics or Fibonacci or whatever you do, what I do will enhance what you're doing, period. Okay, VIP mentorship starts in a couple of weeks. You email me directly, dmiller@prometheaninvesting.com for details. My one-on-one sessions are obviously the most invaluable thing you can ever do because you're working with me one-on-one, and it allows me to get to know you. So a lot of times people think they're this person as a trader or investor, and they're actually this person. Sometimes that means that they're more capable, and sometimes it means that they're less capable than they believe. This allows me to figure that out. If you're interested in that, you can email me at dmiller@prometheaninvesting.com, or feel free to visit my website, www.prometheaninvesting.com, and go to my contact page. Tell me, hey, I'm interested in one-on-ones, and I'll reach out to you and we can talk about it. For today, thank you so much. Remember, if you're not good up here, you're not good anywhere. If you're having a tough day, remember, you haven't lost yet. How do I know that? Because you're still here. You're batting 1,000. All right? So don't stop. Remember, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. Throw a smile on. Walk around like an idiot for an hour, and all of a sudden it will become real, and you'll feel better. And that's what life's all about. You can make yours. I promise you, nothing bad will come from happiness. Nothing. Nothing bad will ever come from you being happy. Also, remember, guys, every day above ground is a good